The importance of having centralized control for your call to actions, which is the primary action you want visitors to take. Usually they look like buttons on your website, and the links for those. So usually you have a primary, and you may also have a secondary. And you want global control of those in cases like maybe you're running a sale and you want to change that primary call to action to promote your sale. Maybe you're seasonal, where in the summer you're picking up clients for work in the summer, and then during the fall or during the winter you're picking up or pursuing clients for work that's done in the winter. You want to be able to control this globally in one place versus having to hunt down different pages to change these call to actions text and or call to actions links. Same thing might be true with your logo, with your messaging, and links. Like maybe your Facebook link, if that would happen to change, you don't want to have to hunt down everywhere that you've added this to your website, all the templates, all the pages, all the posts, and you want to have global control of that. And so that's what having a options page in WordPress is for. That's the way I use it. So some of this I already have set up. I use MetaBox. I think it's better than advanced custom fields for several reasons. One is that it doesn't save extra stuff in the database. For example, with custom fields, if you use ACF, it will actually save the value twice. And I could show you an example of this here, but or you can just take my word for it, or you can Google it and research it yourself. But I've seen this before where if you have a custom field, for example, for primary logo, and then this actually does, I'm not sure if this applies to a settings page or an options page, but this does apply to custom fields used for pages or posts, custom post types. And so it'll have the key, and then it'll have like a unique key that's generated by ACF. Like it actually would be really interesting to show you an example of this. Well, let me just do that real quick. I'll show you an example. I'm gonna pause the video and find this on another site that I have built, and then we'll get back to this here. So we'll pause the recording, then we'll be back in a second. All right, so here we are again, recording. And so here's this site. This is created with ACF. I've got resources, and they're pretty, like they're not complicated. If I click on one, there you can have, like you can put content in the block editor, and there's one custom field here, deliverable URL. And if we go look at this in ACF, let's look at post types first. I've got my resources here. This actually isn't where it's at, it's under field groups. If I look for my resources field group, I can see I've got one custom field here. There's the name of it. But if I look in the database, and I just found one of these, I've got the resources deliverable URL. This is my meta key that I created, and here's the value. But then here is also an extra custom field with a meta key pre-appended with an underscore, and then it's got this here. And I don't actually 100% know how it works. All I know is that you're adding twice as many rows to the database when you use ACF. In MetaBox, it's similarly how it's set up. I've also got resources here. And basically, again, it's just a link. They can't use the block editor on this site. If I go look at this here, here's one case where it's used resource URL. That's it. There's no second entry in the database. It doesn't, for most sites, you won't be able to tell a performance difference, but it's more the principle of the thing. I don't like why? Why? What's the benefit of adding an extra row in the database, kind of self-referencing the custom field key? Because if we go look at this here, if I expand this and somewhere, I thought somewhere we can actually see that other key, but I'm not seeing it right now. Field groups. I think it's right here. So it's like the group has a key, and I'm pretty sure that will correspond over here. This here. So yeah, it just I don't understand why it's set up this way. It doesn't make sense. Does not seem necessary. And so, and here you see, here's another post down here, same thing. So all that to say, let's just get back to what we were trying to do. That's why I use MetaBox. In my opinion, it is it's better than ACF, but a lot of people use ACF. All right, let's keep on going. So I already did. I don't think I showed you how I have my settings page set up. Options page and settings page. I think WordPress calls it an options page because the information is stored in the options table. MetaBox does something I don't appreciate. They call it a settings page, but it is saved in the options table. They probably should just have called it a options page. So that's one thing I don't like about MetaBox. However, functionality-wise, I do like it better. So let's go ahead and look at this here. I already set up my options page or settings page in MetaBox, but I'll show, and I created some custom fields. I created the logo fields. We'll go and do the CTAs, and we'll do the messaging as well. So the way this is set up, we go to MetaBox, look at settings pages, and here's one I created called brand. And this, I give the name, give the ID, and then automatically the options name was what the ID is as well. This should be the lowercase version of the title. And then I like it set up with tabs just because I think it's easier to use. But that does mean you need to create separate field groups for each tab. So the key is the first one, the tab key, and the tab label is the second one. And so when we go to add a custom field, which we'll go ahead and do that now. So I did brand introduction, brand graphics. So let's go ahead and add a new one here. So I like pre-appending it with brand. I don't do this, well, yeah. So I would call it, let's do our CTAs. So I would call it brand CTAs. And then I wish this would automatically just create the ID for it. And maybe if I would save changes, it would, but we'll just go do brand CTAs, all lowercase, only special character is a underscore. And this is the role, this is the settings page, this is the brand, and then down here I can choose the tab that it's to, so this is the CTAs. And then that's what I need to do for kind of setting up the field group. But now I need to go add my custom fields. So I want, and I've got notes over here on my other screen, so I always get this, set this up the way I want it to. So I'm going to create a text field type, so I want, and this is going to be the label for this here, which will automatically update the ID then. But this is going to be my primary CTA text. That's exactly what I want it to be down there. And sometimes I will limit this, but this is for my own site, so I'm not too concerned about it getting out of hand or being too long. So I'll just leave that blank. This is required, so we have to have that. And then I'm also going to create a URL, a primary CTA URL. Now, there is a URL field type, but it needs to be the full URL, including the HTTP part. Sometimes I just want a relative URL, so I'm actually going to just use text. So depending if this is for a client or for yourself, this may not be the best choice, because this could definitely get messed up if someone doesn't know what they're doing, but I do know what I'm doing. So primary CTA URL. And again, this is also required. And then I'm going to resize this just so that they fit on the same line. And let's make this like that, 50-50. I'm going to hit save changes. And then I'm going to do this for the secondary as well. So, and the field, I could just have duplicated it, but so text, what's our label? This is going to be our secondary CTA text, and it's going to be required. This one here I will just move over and I'll duplicate it and name this one secondary URL. And it automatically created the field for me, and now we are good to go. So now I can go back over here to my brand page, and I can click down to CTAs. I can put in what I want it to be. So it might be, in my case, I still have to, I'm not ready to put in the copy for this yet, but typically it might be, free quote. And then because this is a text field versus a URL field, I can do something like type in quote instead of doing the HTTP domain, quote quote. So if you're not sure what to do, just make this a URL field. You'll be safer with that. But if you do know what you're doing, this can be a text field and it gives you a little more flexibility. For my secondary CTA, for right now, I'm not sure what it's going to be, so I'm just going to call it secondary CTA placeholder. And for the URL, I'm just going to put in a hash, a pound sign. So that's something else you can do when this is a text field. Because if this would be a URL, this would have to be a full URL. All right, I tried to hit save, and I don't have some stuff here yet, so I need to just save the logo, and then save our icon. Okay, save changes. All right, now we're able to save it. So that's all you do, and now I've got global control. So I'll reference this this options page or settings page information throughout my website, so that if I ever do want to change it from free quote, like maybe I'll change it, get a free quote before Christmas. You know, if we're heading into the holidays, like I can update it across my entire website. When people visit it, it'll feel fresh, and I don't need to be worried that I missed something if I have to hunt down every place where I've used it and update it. Same thing with the messaging, which I don't have anything in here right now, but I'll have a place for my my one-liner, which is kind of like a short elevator pitch. That's from the StoryBrand messaging framework, the one-liner, problem, solution, outcome. And I probably won't change it a whole lot, but if I ever do change it, I don't want to have to, again, hunt down wherever I have used it and update it. So that's why a options page is absolutely essential for a scalable and maintainable website. And setting them up, I mean, it sounds kind of intimidating. And you know, how do you reference these on your pages or templates? Can seem intimidating, but it really is easy, especially when you use, you know, really good tools like Etch for your theme and website builder. If you use a crappy tool or an underpowered tool, you know, you might not have that kind of power or flexibility or ability. Anyway, hope that makes sense, and I probably will have a video showing how to use these then on the front end when we are working on adding pages. So thanks for watching. If you have questions, drop a comment below. Thank you.